Welcome to another episode of Bankside Cuisine. We're here at Fisherwick Lakes. The rods are out, the food's in front of us, so it can only mean one thing. We're going to show you how to make another recipe. Now today we've got pork chops with a lovely little sweet potato Colcannon. We've got some ready-made sweet potato mash, we've got some spring greens, some sliced red onions and our seasoning. So let me move this out of the way, get the stove fired up and we'll get straight into cooking. Okay guys, first of all, before we actually get the stove up, what I want to do is just season the steak. So here I've got garlic granules, I've got black pepper and I've got sea salt. I'm just pressing that seasoning into these and then we're just going to turn it over and season the other side as well. So we've just turned the pan on, we got it on a medium-ish heat and I'm just going to add some oil into there just to start smoking and get that hot. Right, that oil's now nice and warm, it's marbling across the surface of the pan, there's a little bit of smoke coming off it, so what we're going to do is put our pork chops straight into there. Now these have been seasoned on both sides using salt, black pepper and our garlic, and there we go, you can hear that little bit of a sizzle already as they go in. Right, the pork's now been cooking for a couple of minutes on one side. We're just going to turn it over. And there you go, you can start to see that coloration now. That garlic on there, that's starting to turn, that's caramelising. We've got all the way along the fat there caramelising. Now when we've done that side, what we're going to do is flick it onto its side and just actually start rendering down that fat that's in the pork as well. Just so we can get that nice and crispy around the edges. Right, so that's now been cooking. What we're going to do, as I said, we're just going to now start to colour that fat off in the pan just by holding it and pressing it down. And you can already see it, you know, a light little touch there, and that's just going to start crisping that up nicely. Now, once again, if you don't like the fat, cut it off before you come, don't have it on there, but to me, fat is flavour. There's so much flavour in that fat, and some fat in your diet is good for you, so I always like to keep that on. Right, so while those pork chops are cooking in there, the next thing to go into the pan, we're going to put some onions. Now, these are going to start frying off. We're going to get all of the flavour that garlic and that pork's kicking out into the pan, into these onions, ready for our Colcannon. So we'll just open these. Now, once again, just to show you, I've bought these ready sliced. You can do them yourself at home, slice them up, put them into a bag and bring them ready done. But this is just a convenience way. Right, so the onions are now really cooking through, the pork's nearly finished. The next thing to go into the pan, we're going to put some of these spring greens. Now I really like a lot of spring greens in my Colcannon, so we're not going to scrimp and save on that. And all we're going to do, we're going to use that steam from the pan to wilt these down. So we're just going to put the pork chops back over the top of those, in the same way that we've cooked the onions, and then that are cooked down. Right, so as you can see there, the spring greens are wilted down. All we need to do now is add our potato. But what we're going to do first, I'm just going to take these pork chops out. They've finished cooking. So we're just going to rest these just for a couple of minutes while the potato cooks through. And it's always nicer if you can actually, anything like steaks or pork, chicken, before you're going to eat it, actually just let it rest for a couple of minutes, because what it does, it relaxes the muscle and it'll make it more tender. Otherwise, from the cooking process, it's really tough. So just let it relax as you finish cooking and then it will be nicer to eat. So I've got this sweet potato mash. You can use normal mash if you like. I saw this, it's one of my favourites. So we're just going to get this in the pan. There we go, so we're just going to heat that through, getting everything mixed together. Now, Colcannon, bubble and squeak, however you want to call it, it's going to be a lovely, sweet little dish. You've got the sweetness of those red onions, you've got the sweetness of that potato as well, and then a nice little bitterness of the cabbage that's going to go through there. Work really well. Pork is quite a sweet meat anyway, and it really works well with sweet flavours. So we've got our sweet potato in there, everything's starting to cook, it's all warming through beautifully. We've just moved that to the side of the pan. Just going to put the pork back into the pan, just for about a minute, just to carry on heating through. And then all that's left to do is serve. So we're just going to put some of this sweet potato Colcannon into the middle of the plate. Now, as you can see, there's enough here to feed two. One of you if you're really, really hungry, but very few of us fish alone these days. It's always a sociable thing, so it's good to be able to cook together. There you go. Now you could serve that with a bit of gravy if you wanted. My preference, you can see the sun's out, it's lovely and warm, you don't want it to be too stodgy. So all we're doing, I'm just going to trickle a little bit of rapeseed oil over there. And once again, that is our finished dish. So we've got a lovely little pork chop, sweet potato Colcannon with spring cabbage and red onions.